Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming another finance video. I am excited to be filming this because you guys have been asking for budgeting videos, but I want to kick off my love for traveling with this finance series. I told myself I wanted to do this when I started vlogging my traveling, and I wanted to mix the two because one of the questions I feel like people always get when they see people traveling a lot is how do they afford that and how much does that cost? I know at least I always wonder that whenever I see people on trips. I'm like, how much really was that? Or if I see them in a first class seat, I'm like, how much did you spend on that plane ticket? And I just always wonder. So I wanted to film a video all about how much my trip to Portugal cost. I thought that was a good way to kick it off because that was truly a vacation for me. I feel like when I go to London, it's not the best to show you guys how much that costs because I'm staying with my boyfriend a lot. It's not as like accurate of how much it would cost if you guys decided to book a trip to London. I can always go back and see how much my solo trip cost me or the 3 weeks that I spent in Europe this past summer, but in terms of an actual vacation, Portugal was the first one this year where I felt like it was truly a vacation. I went with my friend and I wanted to break down how much 5 days in Portugal cost. And if you guys were wondering, if you were curious, this video is for you, or if you're planning on making a similar trip, hopefully these numbers are a good comparison or can kind of help you guys decide if this is something within your budget. And before we get into this video, I did want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring it. So if you don't know what Squarespace is, it is the easiest way to build a website and it is my personal favorite. I've tried so many website builders, but this is by far the easiest one. They have amazing templates to choose from. They have such beautiful designs. It's never been easier to build a website, and they have everything you need to really make your business successful when it comes to your website. They have marketing analytics, email campaigns. They also have something called Design Intelligence, which is their version of AI building your website, but it's building it with you. You're going to tell it the vibe, the style that you want, the color scheme, and it's going to completely build the bones of the website for you, and then you can just go in afterwards and customize it however you like. That's the best part about Squarespace, is the customization and how customizable it is. So if you guys want 10% off and want to try it for yourself, then definitely head over to squarespace.com/NatalieBarbu or use Natalie Barbu at checkout. So if you guys are looking for a website, a travel blog, cough cough, then I definitely think you should check out Squarespace, and I'll have it linked below. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. I wanted to talk about my traveling style a little bit because I do think that that's important because people travel very differently. Some people are going to watch this video and think that this video is all about how to go to Portugal for very, very cheap. And that's not what this video is. There are plenty of people that post like budget hacks, and while I do not like to spend a ton of money, I definitely prioritize some things over others. I'm going to kind of share with you what I prioritize so you can see if this sounds like you. For example, some of the things that I prioritize is my hotel and my accommodations. I do not need to stay in the most luxurious or the nicest or the fanciest, but I need it to be safe, I need it to be nice, I need it to be comfortable. And that is my priority. It can be middle of the road, but I am not staying in a hostel, and I'm also not staying at like the Ritz-Carlton for the most part. I would take the Ritz-Carlton, but that's not usually where I'm staying when I'm booking places for myself. I always try to find places that are relatively affordable but still nice, so I will spend more money than, for example, a hostel. And then the next really big thing that I prioritize when I'm traveling is food and coffee. That might sound silly to some of you guys, but for me it's not. I am such a big foodie. If I'm traveling, I need to make sure that I am experiencing really good food, because honestly, the number one reason why I travel is probably for the food and the culture. Like, those are the two things that I care about so much, but food in particular is my love language. It is what I love to do when I'm traveling. It is the best part of my trips. I remember restaurants when I travel. Like, food is very, very important to me, and I want to try really good food. Again, it does not have to be that fancy. I'm not someone that goes to like incredibly fancy places, but I need the food to be good. I need it to have good reviews, and I need it to be a good vibe. So that's kind of what I prioritize when it comes to travel. And then of course I just need good coffee, so I will be buying 2 coffees a day and I won't be apologizing for it. So those are kind of the things that I'm willing to like spend a little bit more money on. Things that I am not spending money on, or at least not like going above and beyond, are my plane seats. I am not someone that splurges on first class or business class. I just don't think it's worth it personally. I've gotten upgraded before to business class for free, and it was an amazing experience. I loved it. And I just remember thinking, this is the life. This is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, flying business class on one of like an overnight flight is like life-changing. But at the end of the day, I'm still not spending money on it. When I see the flight tickets and I see $500 for a regular seat versus $2,500 for business class, I just cannot justify upgrading for an extra like couple hundred or 2,000 or thousands of dollars. Like, it just doesn't make sense in my head. And even when I have points, if a flight is 30,000 points to get to Europe and business class is 150,000 points, I still can't really justify it, so I really never end up upgrading myself. Another thing that I do not prioritize when I'm traveling is the drinks or the nightlife situation. I'm not a big drinker and I really don't like going out, but I know that that's really important to some people and they need to make sure that they are going out, they're experiencing the nightlife in a certain city or a certain country. I'm not one of those people. I literally do not care to go out at night. I don't care for like drinks to be really good. Like, I'm not that big of a drinker or a nightlife person, so to me that is the bottom of my list and I don't really want to spend money on that. And then another thing that some people spend money on that I do not spend money on is like a spa or relaxation when I am traveling. So I never like book a hotel with a spa or do anything like that. I'm just like, I can do that when I get home. I don't need to spend like hundreds of dollars here for that, so that's just something that I also don't prioritize. Now let's get into my Portugal trip. I was there for 5 days with my friend Gracie, so it was just the two of us on a girls trip, and I'm gonna break down by category everything that we spent and how much we spent to see if 5 days in Portugal is realistic to you. Also, keep in mind the things that I prioritized versus didn't. Like, you can definitely spend less if you don't care about a hotel. You can go to a hostel. If you don't care about restaurants, then you don't have to choose the restaurants that we went to because some of them were on the pricier side. So that's why I wanted to kind of start it off like that. As I said, we stayed there for 5 days total. We had 5 full days there and we did Lisbon and Porto. It was such an amazing experience, and if you want to see my vlog, then definitely check that out because I vlogged everything. Like, everywhere we went, all the food we ate, I vlogged it all. So let's talk about my flight to get there because the flight is always typically the most expensive part. Me and my friend Gracie just wanted to do a trip. Like, that was how all of this started, and we were like, where is a place that both of us haven't gone that we've been wanting to go that's also not super expensive? And we were just looking on Google Flights. For both of us, going to Portugal was actually pretty inexpensive. So my flight total was $507 round trip, and for a flight to Europe, I just feel like that is pretty good. Again, we did go during like off season. We went in January, but it was still pretty good, I think, for a round trip flight. I have paid $500 to go to like LA, for example, and that's in the same country. And I always say when I book a ticket so far away, I'm like, by the time the trip comes, like, I have forgotten about that $500, so that's a perk. We decided to stay at Airbnbs instead of hotels. I think that there's pros and cons to both. If you have a travel credit card, like for example, the American Express Platinum card, which I have, and I book all of my hotels through that, I think staying at a hotel can be helpful. If you're staying in a certain hotel within American Express and book it through American Express, you get free breakfast for 2 people every single morning. You get a $100 voucher to spend at the hotel. The Platinum card also gives you a $200 voucher once a year, so you can use it on that hotel. Early check-in, late checkout, that sort of situation. In this case, the Airbnbs were significantly cheaper, that even with all of these perks, an Airbnb was just better off. And we figured that we probably wouldn't be eating at the hotel anyways. We wanted to like explore coffee shops and cafes and like what the actual cities had to offer, so we stayed at an Airbnb. If you guys want to apply for the American Express Platinum card, which I think is the best for hotels, then I will have it linked down below. All the details will be underneath in the description, but you'll get a couple of like tens of thousands of points, and then I'll get a couple of tens of thousands of points if you apply using my link. As I said, we did stay at Airbnbs. They were super cute and super nice, and for the entire 5 days, this was like very inexpensive. I think I spent $287 for the Airbnb for the 5 days total, and that's $57 per day, about $57.40 per day. So it was pretty inexpensive. We did go during off season, and Portugal is definitely a more affordable country in Europe, but I was still pretty shocked at like how inexpensive the Airbnbs were. And again, they were pretty nice. They weren't like the top of the top, but they were nice in amazing areas and very safe locations. And now when it comes to food, as you guys know, I am someone that prioritizes food. So on food and coffee for the entire trip, I spent $388, which is about $77.60 per day and $25 per meal, but that includes food and coffee. So I don't know the exact breakdown, I just kind of lumped them together, but if we're talking averages, it's about $25 per meal, and that's including the coffees. And if you guys can't tell, Portugal is definitely more of an affordable country than other countries for Americans traveling there, so I will say that. I'm always hesitant to say it's affordable because to the people that live there, it's not, but for Americans, typically it is a more affordable country. So I definitely want to recognize that and mention that. This was one of the cheaper trips that I had gone on to Europe, especially when it came to food. I felt like we had gone to like incredibly nice restaurants. Like you can definitely slash this dining bill in half because we went to really nice restaurants, like good food, ordered appetizers, bottles of wine, you know, like 2 coffees a day, and still only ended up spending $388 for 5 days. I feel like that can be the equivalent of like 3 meals in Miami sometimes, so perspective is everything. I did go shopping while I was there, but I really didn't buy that much. I spent $63 on shopping. So I don't remember exactly what I bought. I know I bought this ring though, but this ring was only $15. So pretty. Anyways, I spent $63 on shopping, so that's also something that you can definitely cut. You don't need to go shopping, but I wanted to include it in there. We also did a couple of experiences. So we did a port wine tasting, we did the hop on hop off city bus tour, which I highly recommend no matter how cheesy touristy it is, and the total with all of the experiences was $81, which I feel like is again pretty good. And then the last category is transportation. We did mainly take Uber. We didn't take any of the public transport that Lisbon or Porto had to offer because the cities itself were very walkable. Like if it was an under 30-minute walk, we were just walking everywhere, and I felt like we walked pretty much everywhere. But on the rare occasions that we had to take Ubers, like to and from the airport, and maybe like a handful of other times, plus the train ticket to get to Lisbon to Porto, I spent $78. And again, we really didn't use it that much. So again, you don't have to take Uber. You can definitely rely on like walking in public transport, but we just took Uber a couple of times. And so the total for my 5-day trip to Lisbon and Porto was around $1,400. It was $1,404, $1,404, which totals up to $280 per day, which I really don't think is that bad when you think of a European trip. Again, there are definitely ways to cut this down. You can stay in cheaper accommodations. You can not go to expensive restaurants. You can take public transport. Like I definitely think you could do a week in Portugal for under $1,000. And so if you are looking to go to Europe and you are wondering if it costs thousands and thousands of dollars, it definitely does not have to. And like I said, I am not someone that necessarily like does a bunch of things on a budget. There's just things that I prioritize and things that I don't. And so if you are someone like me, then hopefully then this can give you kind of like a realistic gauge of how much a similar trip could cost. And if you actually want to see our trip, we did vlog it, so you can actually see what we did, the restaurants we ate at, our Airbnb, everything like that. I'll have it linked down below. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I want to do more budgeting videos, so if you guys are interested, please let me know. I am headed to Scotland next week and to London, and then I'm headed back home. Let me know. I definitely want to do one of these videos of how much I spend a week in Miami, because I'm not gonna lie, the numbers are probably similar because Miami is so expensive. So let me know if you guys want to see that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.